Hello everybody, welcome again to another edition of Marion County Espresso TV. I'm your host, Steve Woodhouse, and joining me today is Sue DeMarinis. Welcome, Sue.
Thank you.
Sue is the author of Hidden in Harlem, a new book she has out. It's, go ahead, plug the book.
Plug the book. I wrote this novel because I met this gentleman in the town where I live, which is in Southern Oregon, and he moved there because his son lives there. But he's from Harlem in Holland, and he told me his firsthand account of being in an occupied country during World War II. He's going to be 98 in July. He's still kicking. And his story was unbelievable because I had never heard any stories about the regular people. The Dutch people, what happened to the Dutch people when they got, you hear about the battles, you hear about the heroes, you hear about the concentration camps, not to diminish any of those stories, but the regular people have their own story. And it was phenomenal. He was a teenager during that time. What he was willing to do and what his family was willing to let him do, because being part of the resistance was the consequences of getting caught for that were death, not just for him, but for his whole family. So it was an incredible story to hear this 96-year-old gentleman tell this to me. And I keep looking at him going, "You were a spy? Wow, okay." And it took me a year to write the book and design the cover. There's a picture of Harlem and the cobblestone streets, and doing a nationwide book tour. And I looked on Google Maps for places that might fit with my stories, and I saw Google Maps had a little windmill about Pella. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is a Dutch town. They'd love this story. So that's how I got here.
So who made the connection then? Did you call the library here, or did you?
Yeah, I called I usually do my talks in libraries, museums, or senior citizen centers, depending on what the town has to offer and how I can connect with them. And Pella was like, "We want you. This is perfect." So I came here.
Yeah, we have very strong connections to Holland. And
How is that? How does the Dutch fit with Pella? How did that come to be?
The town was founded by a group of Dutch settlers who wanted religious freedom. And so they founded the town. Do you know what Pella means?
No.
Neither do I. I don't remember right now.
City of Refuge.
City of Refuge.
Oh.
See, I was going to try and look smart there, and then it slipped my mind. That's what it gets you when you try to look smart.
Right. And so are you related to Pella Windows? Is that?
Our headquarters for that is right down the street.
Oh, so it is from here. Okay, I thought there was a connection. So yeah, it's going to be a great story. I'm talking tonight at the library at 6 o'clock. And I have a slideshow, and there's photographs from Hans's actual photo albums that he brought back from Holland. He didn't move to the States until 1951.
So what was his demeanor like recalling all this? You know, I mean, I imagine it brought up a lot of bad memories for him.
Well, it was interesting. I recorded him because his accent was so thick. I was like, I'm going to miss something. And when he was recounting the part of when he turned 18, he was eligible, not by choice, to be conscripted by the German army to go work in the munitions factories. And his dad said, "You're not doing that. That's the first place the Allies are going to bomb. We're not sending you there." And his face changed from a 96-year-old man to an 18-year-old. It just like the wrinkles went away, his cheeks flushed, his voice changed. And he reiterated the poster that was whitewashed onto all the corners of the buildings, saying, you know, you need to be on the corner at 7 o'clock with one suitcase and blah, blah, blah. And I mean, I was just watching him going, wow, he's actually there. I mean, his face changed. And I mean, a 96-year-old, the voice is really, but it changed to this deep 18-year-old. It was amazing. And then his father said, well, if we've been hiding other people, why don't we hide you? Which is where the title Hidden in Harlem came from. And everybody says, you spelled it wrong. I'm like, no, it's Dutch like a lot of letters. So it's got the two A's in it for Harlem in Holland. And I went there last summer on a bike trip because Holland's flat, Oregon is not. And I went to his house and I knocked on the door and I asked the gentleman that lived there, he was a 20-year-old, who opened the door and he said, "Who are you?" I said, "Oh, I wrote a book about this house. I know the guy who lived here 80 years ago." He goes, "Who?" And then I said, "Oh, look it up. It's on Amazon." And I showed him the book on Amazon. And he goes, "Oh, okay." I said, "I want to see the hole in the floor of your closet." He goes, "What hole?" I said, "You don't know there's a hole in the floor of your closet?" And he said, "No." "Come on in." And he opened the closet door, pulled up the carpeting. I was like, "Oh my gosh, your mother's going to kill me." And he said, "Oh my God, there's a hole in the floor." I said, "Yeah, that's where Hans went through to hide from the Gestapo." He goes, "Who?" So I gave him a copy of my book. And the history was it was amazing, and to be there, to see what Hans had told me, it was phenomenal. So I put some of those photographs in my slideshow. So it's a mixture of 1940 photographs from 2024, and then pictures of what was going on in the community, because there were so many people involved in the Dutch resistance that you didn't know about, that you just kind of went, wow. So I really honor the Dutch community that survived. They were amazing in how much they did and how they had to survive. Did you know they ate tulip bulbs?
They ate the tulip bulbs?
Oh my God. I had the same face when Hans told me that. And I was like, "You what?" He goes, "Yeah, they're a little more bitter than onions, but we didn't have anything else."
Well,
So we ate, and I didn't believe him. I'm like, he's 96, he's not remembering this right. I looked it up online, and on Google, there's tulip bulb recipes.
I did not know that.
For smashing tulip bulbs, boiling them, making them into flour. I was like, wow. So they're very ingenious. You have to come to the slideshow. You'll see the pictures.
See, I can't imagine that, because I know when you slice a tulip bulb open, you can see the petals and everything inside.
But yeah, well, I guess you have to pick it at the right time, and you have to be starving.
I guess so, yeah. I was going to say, survival or eating a tulip bulb. I'd
Right.
probably resort to it. Wouldn't you, Monty? Yeah. Yeah.
Well, Hans is still 6'2". He was probably 6'4" back then. He looks like the guy in the Dutch cigar box with the little goatee. If you just put the hat on him, he would be perfect. And he's very thin. And I said, "I notice you have your paintings in your apartment." He goes, "Yeah, but you'll never see me paint a tulip." Done with the tulips. He's like, "I ate so many of those, I can't even look at a tulip." I went, "Oh, okay." So he's a kick in the pants, and he's still kicking, which is nice.
Well, that's great. So is the book like entirely fact-based, or is it like a dramatization of what he went through?
It's historical fiction, and if Hans was in the audience as I gave the talk here, he would jump up even at 7 years old and grab the microphone from me, because in the middle I made up that his stepsister had a love affair. And he goes, "That's not true." I'm like, okay, Hans, it's fiction. That part's fiction. So I added a little romance in the middle, but all the characters are real. All the events that happened are real. So it's real history told through a family as they weave through this time frame, and then the love story is made up. But most of the things that they said are from what Hans told me. So it's like a verbatim translation of what he remembers, which he's pretty good at remembering, everybody was saying at the time. So I'd say it's more historical than fiction, but I have to put the fiction in there because he'd yell at me.
How did you get turned on to writing, to even exploring this topic?
I've written 4 novels. This is my 4th. And I was giving a talk in his assisted living about one of my other books, and he came up to me. And I didn't know anything about, Holland, much less a lot about World War II, other than Churchill and some battles, and that we won.
Yeah.
So I had to research a lot of history that went on in that neighborhood that I never knew about. And then I went to see it all last summer, which was amazing. Do you know they built a wall on the North Sea called the Atlantic Wall? The Germans built this.
No.
Yeah. It's the whole length from Holland all the way through Belgium and France, a concrete blocker wall with a bunker and they have little turrets that they could send their cannons or guns out through. They were afraid of a water invasion, like a D-Day. And the Germans thought we need to like take over these countries and protect the invasion. So that wall is still there. It's amazing. There's so much history that's still there. It's amazing.
I was going to say, we've all heard of the Berlin Wall, but
No, this is called the Atlantic Wall with a K. Atlantic. And it goes the full length of the North Sea.
wow.
Great bike trail right along it. So,
Well, in your audience tonight, I'm sure you'll meet some folks that have been to Holland as well.
oh yeah, I welcome the questions. I welcome the input. And I'm sure they'll enjoy the photographs from then and now because it's all put together. So yeah, come on down.
So how long have you been an author?
Since I retired, I was a chiropractor for 30 years. And I retired in 2019 and started writing. So yeah, this is my 4th novel. And I started this, I met Hans in March of 2020. And I was going to interview him the next week and COVID hit. And when COVID hit, I was like, oh my God, they locked down everything. And I couldn't go. And 2 years later, I called the assisted living. I said, is Hans still alive? And they said, oh yeah, he's reading the New York Times with his magnifying glass. I'm like, oh my gosh. So I thank gosh he stayed alive and he could tell me the story. When I spoke a year later in his assisted living, he went around to all the people in the lunchroom and said, they're talking about me today. You have to come. It's going to be great. So he's so cute with his little walker. And I had like 37 wheelie walkers attending, plus his son and his granddaughter. And his son came up to me afterwards and he said, thank you so much for writing this story because we've never heard it. I said, what? Your father never told you these stories? No, he never has told anyone what happened to him. And so I'm sure there's a whole lot of people that have now passed or are not able to communicate well enough that had stories that they never told because they didn't want to relive them. It was too much of a memory that they couldn't relive. But he was adamant that he wanted to tell this story. It was great. So
did you come here to Pella all the way from Oregon specifically for this, or are you on like a tour that you're going to hit some other towns?
Oh, I've been on the road since the end of March. And yeah, I've gone all the way from Oregon down to LA and then across through Albuquerque and all the way to Florida and then up the East Coast all the way to Boston and now I'm on my way back. So, but the little windmill on Google, I went, oh, that's perfect. I'm going to stop in that town. So,
see, I've never really Googled Maps Pella because I've lived in this area my whole life, but now I know a windmill represents us on Google Maps as well.
And the Vermeer Museum, and I'm like, I've been there. I went to the Vermeer Museum in Holland, so I want to see what they have. So I walked around this morning when I got here early, and I was like, oh, this is so cute. It's like, and you even put a little canal in by the hotel. It's adorable. So I like Holland, and I've been there, and I appreciate the people that I've met from there, and so it just is close to my heart. I really like it. So I'll head home. I'll be home by the beginning of June.
Well, we're glad you're here. And again,
Thank you.
we're filming this on May 21st. She will be here at the Pella Public Library tonight at 6 p.m. And of course, tell us where we can find the book in case we miss you tonight.
Oh, well, it's on Amazon, and you can buy it there. But I'd rather give you a book that you can buy and I can sign it so you have an author-signed copy. So come tonight. I have tons of them. That's why I came in a van, because I could carry all the books.
All right. Well, thank you, Sue.
Thank you for reaching out for me and interviewing me. It's been great.
Yeah, welcome to Pella. I hope you enjoy your visit here.
I'm sure I will.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all for joining us.
See you soon.